Mr. Salman Rushdie, who is a big-time supporter of this Indian Film Festival. How are you feeling right now?
I'm just pleased to see it's, being so successful and continuing. It's been a struggle financially, I think, but it's doing very well, so that's nice.
Wonderful. Now I know you are a foodie yourself. Tell me about the hot spots of New York that you like.
Oh, wow. Well, one thing that's happened in New York is that suddenly there are good Indian restaurants, which, for a long time, that was the one cuisine that was kind of missing, But now there's this new place, the Delhi restaurant Indian Accent has just opened here, and that's very good. And, there's Tulsi and Vermilion, and there's 4 or 5, there's Junoon. So suddenly there are places to go out and eat desi food, which, there were always little, joints like on what they call Curry Hill, and of course in Queens, if you go to Jackson Heights, there's a lot of sort of simple places. But finally, there's some high-end stuff, which is nice.
That's absolutely correct. Now, from a very accomplished writer yourself, who are some of the people that you enjoy reading?
Oh, you mean amongst Indian writers, or Well, Kiran Desai, who's here actually, you should grab her. But I've always, both Anita and Kiran Desai, they're good friends, but also I've been reading them for what seems like all my life, And Rana Dasgupta, I like his stuff, And there's a lot of young Pakistani writers suddenly who are very good. Mohsin Hamid, Daniel Muinuddin, quite a few of them, Kamila Shamsi. So, there's a lot of good writing around in the next generation, so I'm trying to keep up.
So what would you advise the next generation? How should they hone their writing skills?
Just do it, the only way to get better is to do it. Just keep doing it.
And from a very successful man yourself, what is the definition of success to you?
Oh, it's really just believing that I've written a few books that are likely to last. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like, success. That's much more important than prizes and money and things. You feel, because you write these books in the hope that they will stick around, in the hope that they will last longer than you do. So if they do that, then I'll be very happy.
I'm now here with Rahul Bose, who has his film premiering here called Purna. First of all, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you.
So tell me about Purna. I was reading about the film. It's so interesting. It's a true story of a 13-year-old first girl to ever climb Mount Everest.
Well, the youngest girl to climb Everest. Yes, many girls have climbed Everest, but no one as young as 13. In itself, it's such an inspirational story, but the fact that she's tribal, Adivasi, and she's poor, and she's undereducated, and she comes from the flatlands of Telangana where, leave alone mountains, there's no hill. It was just an incredible story to have to put on celluloid. I was blown away by the real life story.
So what were some of the trials and tribulations you faced?
Well, just geographically. You start off in her village in Pakala, 45 degrees centigrade in Telangana, and you end up at minus 15 or 20 degrees centigrade at 15,000 feet in Sikkim in January. And in those 60, 65 degrees lies the entire history of this film. And the arc of the film takes you rock climbing to a rock that's 65 floors high, 650 feet. It's just, then you go to Himalayan Mountaineering Institute. It was a real challenge. This film was backbreaking in terms of its sheer physical labor to make this movie.
What was perhaps the best moment of this film for you?
Filming when the actress reaches the summit, because it was very moving. Even though I was making the movie and I'd read the script 400 times and we had rehearsed it 500 times, when she actually walks up to summit, I started crying, because it was just a moment of so many possibilities that India throws your way and then crushes them. But this was one possibility that actually flowered, and you realize that when India gets it right, the country is glorious.
Now, you're an athlete yourself. Had you ever been to base camp before?
No, I'd been to 70,000 feet, never base camp. But it wasn't physically arduous for me. It was, it was maddeningly arduous for my crew.
Who are the best climbers?
Most definitely Pune, sir.
I would like to give these children a try.
We all know you have a weakness for underdogs. अब slumdog mountaineer तो नहीं बनाने चले ना?
You've been sponsoring this event for many years now. Tell me what motivates you to come back year after year.
Well, New York Indian Film Festival, this is our 5th year, and we're happy to support our community. It's a great way to advertise and also support the community at the same time, and it's for a great cause. So I'm happy to support this, and we're going to continue supporting Arun and the festival for years to come, hopefully.
That's wonderful. Now tell me a little bit about your wines.
So our wines were launched in 2012 in conjunction to complement Indian food. It's wine for your spicy culinary journey. So our wines, we started with 3. Now we're up to 10 wines. We started making wine in Napa. So here today, you'll get to see our Napa wines. And we also started making wine in Washington State. So those are here too, our Pinot Noir. So we're looking forward to expanding and hoping to launch in India this year.
Now the Hideout, tell me a little bit about the story.
So it's a universal story for any race, color, gender. It's about a girl that's stuck in her day job, trying to find the courage to chase her dreams. And it was important to me to really tap into that Bollywood cinema I had grown up on when I was a little girl. So we added that and had a lot of original scores made for it. So it's a musical.
What prompted you to make this film?
You know what? I always had this idea of having an Indo-American flair to my content, and I was really feeling this whole musical element of it, and it's my truth. You know, I grew up watching a lot of Bollywood cinema, and then I went to Gurinder and I said, we need to make this movie. And he said, yeah, let's do it.
So I do a lot of commercial work in Los Angeles. It allows me to make and create, and who better not to invest in than my sister. So we pull this money, but it's also to create content to push diversity, to have East Indians or just Indians in general. You know, we look a certain way. Why can't we be leading women and men in the industry? But a part of it is so many closed doors with networks, studio executives, that it's like you have to create your own content nowadays, which you can because there's so many platforms.
How do you feel? Your film is the opening night film festival. How are you feeling?
It's a privilege because it's my favorite city. It's my birthday tomorrow. My film is premiering in New York, in my favorite city in the world. And I mean, what better could I ask for? I think it's the best birthday gift I got.
Well, happy birthday. How will you be celebrating your big day?
I'm going to get smashed.
Now that you're 21, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And tell me, what was one of the scenes that perhaps was the most challenging for you to enact?
You are missing that scene, but hopefully you can watch it if you go inside. So there was a scene where I come back to tell my boyfriend, that he's kind of pissed off with me about a certain thing, and I go back to him to tell him, like, why don't we just have sex and make it up, and he completely like shuns me down. And I think that's the time when Leela feels so demotivated, and she just realizes that, that she's just running after the wrong guy, or she's just probably not doing the right thing. So I think that's the scene that was the hardest for me, even emotionally. So we shot the scene a lot of times, so yeah.
So on a lighter note, what was the favorite part of your film?
Oh yeah, I mean, I had blue lips by the end of it. There were 2 boys biting onto my lips. I was doing like back-to-back these scenes where, for some odd reason, like my scheduler had scheduled these scenes where I was like with one boy, and then I was with another boy the next day, then again I was with the one boy. So 5 days in a row, I shot like these really physically aggressive scenes. And I was downstairs having cereals and breakfast with the rest of the cast. And my Plamita, who's playing Rehana, she was like, "Ahana, you've got blue lips." And I said, "Which one did it? I don't know."
Now that is a unique anecdote, I have to say.
Yeah, you may think it's all like la-di-da, it's not.
So what can we look forward to in the future from you as an actress?
Well, I'm excited for this film to release, and I'm really looking forward to how people will react to the film or to my character, or to the roles that would probably be for women. This film kind of like opens up, I think, opportunities, because it makes the male directors think like, hey, you know what, like women need not only be flower pots and like this vase in a scene, they need to actually be acting, and I'm hoping that there'll be more opportunities generated after this.
रोजी की ख्वाहिशें भी रोज की तरह खिल रही थी।
ये फोटोज ना लॉटरी की टिकट है। आप दोनों का आपस में कुछ रिश्ता है? नो सेंस।
Lipstick Under My Burqa. It's a very interesting title. Tell me about how did you come up with that?
Well, the title is metaphoric. It's not literal. It just sort of emerged in my mind when I first thought of the film and the 4 characters. And for me, essentially, the title sort of means that women will never stop dreaming, even if they're sort of confined or restrained. And even if we think that women are sort of don't have desires or don't have ambition or passion, the truth is, even if they are nurturing that sort of passion for whatever it is in their life, even if they're nurturing it secretly, it exists. And one can't kill that sort of pulsating desire for life and for freedom in a woman. And really, so that's what the title is for me. It is a sort of metaphoric title.
खंडहर से घर के एक बंद कमरे में रोजी कैद थी, अपने जवां रंगी अरमानों के साथ बिल्कुल अकेली।
पहले नाम बताओ अपना। बुआ जी। किसकी बुआ जी? मेरी बुआ जी तो नहीं हो।
So especially in today's climate and today's time, I think it will resonate with women, especially in the Middle East, and there's so much disturbance. So do you think perhaps the timing is perfect for a film like this?
I do believe that films per se do represent something about the times, because I feel we're not, as a filmmaker, I'm not separate from the world that I live in and separate from the sort of ideas that are floating around or the debates that are happening. So I feel, I'm sure that the fact that, about the fact that lipstick is now being shown and has recently been made, means that this was the right time for the film. And I feel I have this sort of spiritual theory about stories and films, that I really feel filmmakers and writers are really only the medium. And I feel these stories that emerge and the films that emerge, they were always meant to be told. So I feel in that sense, if I look at it from that kind of perspective, I feel that of course if the film has come out now, this is sort of relevant for the time that it's come out in.
पर्दे बड़े मोटे थे, अंधेरे में रोजी को कोई देख नहीं पाता।
लाइफ में सिर्फ बच्चे ही पैदा करने हैं या कुछ और भी प्लान है तुम्हारा?
Tell us a little bit about the plot without obviously giving away everything.
Well, the story is about 4 women from small town India. They're of different ages and they live in this dilapidated building in by lane in Bhopal, and all 4 of them are sort of yearning for freedom in their own sort of ways. They're chasing their small little dreams in secret, and yeah, it's about the 4 of them, their lives and how their lives intersect at certain points.
कभी-कभी लगता है कि बड़ी सेक्स नुमा आवाज है रोजी। जसपाल रोजी को देखना चाहता हूँ।
जसपाल रोजी को रोज देख सकता है, सपने में।
सपने में?
लिपस्टिक वाले सपने।